I'm David Dudley with Beyond the Basics. Here today, we're getting ready to do one of my favorite things in the world to do, and that's deep water ledge fishing with crankbaits. You know, it was probably 5 years ago at Fort Loudon in Tennessee when I really caught the addiction. When I caught fish, I analyzed the situation, and I said, oh, it kind of lays out like this. And then I went to the next spot that kind of looked like it, and then all of a sudden the light bulb went off. Ding! Somebody flipped the switch, and deep water fishing became such a passion of mine, and it's all due to the electronics and the setup that I have. So here today, I'm going to teach you a couple things. I'm going to teach you the setup and what to look for on the maps. We're going to try some shallow water cranking. When I say shallow water cranking, I mean 12 to 15 foot. And when we're in 12 to 15 foot, I like the Bomber BDF 7, Bomber Fat-Free Shad, the 7 series. And then when we go to deep cranking, it's going to be 15 plus, which is when I like to use the BD8, Bomber Fat-Free Shad BD8. Rattling or silent models, you're going to want to let the fish tell you. Now, one of the biggest things that I love to teach about when it comes to deep water cranking, I am not a believer in noodle rods. What I mean by noodle rods, the rods that come around and you can actually touch them butt to butt. This is like an old school myth. I wish I was in Mythbusters, because if I was in Mythbusters, I'd bust this myth. People think that when you're reeling a crankbait, the bass comes up behind it and goes, he opens his mouth up, and he's got such shop vac power that he backs the crankbait up and he closes his mouth and we get him. Well, that ain't true. I can tell you a bass does not have shock vac power. Here's what I want to tell you. When it comes to deep water cranking, I love a stiff rod, long flipping stick. I love the Lamaglass XL, the 7116C series. Yes, you're probably looking at the screen going, David, you are crazy. If you are using too limber of a pole and you throw it out there, your pole will be moving, which indicates you're on the bottom, right? You're gonna be like, yeah, I'm on the bottom. But you're really not feeling what goes on. When you're ledge fishing, you have to pay attention to every detail, because when you're making long casts, you're feeling for shells, you're feeling for rock, you're feeling for wood. And a limber rod is not gonna let you know what you're hitting. It's only gonna indicate you're on the bottom. A stiff pole does this. When I make a long cast with my flipping stick and I start to reel it down, I'm like this. I'm like shell, 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 rock, shell, shell, shell. Stump, stump, boom. I feel him and instantly, gotcha. You're gonna hook that fish immediately, because when I get that bite, I wanna set the hook and I want that hook to go in and through his jaw or through his bones or whatever. So a stiff pole is very, very, very critical to feel what your crankbait. It's more than just reeling. It's more than just throwing it out there, reeling it back, and hoping these 6 set of treble hooks are gonna hook them. So here today, I'm gonna show you how to go out on a massive lake with thousands of acres of ledges out there and pinpoint them to where they should be. You know, when it comes to electronics, Lowrance is the top of the leaderboard on that. And that's what I base my career on. So I like to run two things. One, I'm gonna have a unit on full map, as big as it'll go. My next unit is gonna be nothing but StructureScan. And in order for StructureScan to work, you have to be going at a certain pace. So right now, I'm looking, and just as we look at the bank, if you look at the bank, we see a cove, we see a point, and we see a little indention. Well, that is exactly what you look for out here on the ledge. The same thing you see visibly above the water is the same thing you're looking for below the water. So right now, technically, see that cove? I'm coming up on a cove out here on the ledge, and fish love to get in little cuts. They love to get in little coves, technically speaking, out here on the ledge, and they like to get on points. So if you look at your map, you're gonna look for points, coves, little nooks, crannies, ditches, the same thing you would look for up shallow, but it's out here deep. And the great thing about it is we have the map. Now, when it comes to StructureScan, the thing you're gonna look for is what I like to call golf balls. Just little dots, and you're gonna have small dots, big dots, large dots. I can't ever tell what species they are, but I can normally tell this. By the size dot, if I was to take a Sharpie and press it down one time and lift it up, that size dot is what you look for. Now, if I took a little ink pen and dot. That's a little bit smaller of a dot. That's not what we're looking for. That could be anything from crappie, shad, gizzard shad. That's really not what you're looking for. I want that Sharpie size golf ball. When I see that, my heart races. Right now we just come over a ledge and you can see right here where it dropped off. We have the pin size dots, which is typically bait fish, shad. So I know the presence of some type of bait fish is here, but yet the Sharpie size golf balls are right below it. And the cool thing about this, you can actually count how many is there. So right now I know 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. How addicting is that to be able to scan through with your Lowrance and say, hey, there's 12 bass there. I know that's 2 days of limits right there. You know, one thing I want to point out is StructureScan is what I use when I'm idling around. StructureScan, you have to be going at a certain pace. Now, when I'm actually fishing the spot that I just graphed, I always use sonar. Sonar works great in still moments. I can be sitting still and yet see the story unfold. And the great thing about it is StructureScan is going to show me that I have bass present, and that's what I'm fishing for. A lot of times sonar, you just see a lot of fish and you don't know what they are. But since StructureScan came out, I now know the presence of when I see fish on there, I know it's bass. So always run the sonar and mapping when you're fishing. The cool thing about it is they sit in the same spot every time. You can almost call your shot. Like right about now. Told you. I love deep water cranking. I love it. Don't jump. But I don't know why they always want to come up and jump like all of a sudden. Come on, come on. Go get it. I'm gonna tell you, if there's anything that is absolutely addicting, it's offshore fishing. When you can absolutely call your shot. I mean, take your Lowrance, dot them up, which means look for the dots on the screen and actually throw in there. My heart gets to racing. Just like I called the shot, I was like, right about now, about that time when you know you're about to come through their kitchen, when you know you're about to go through their dinner table, and then they crush it. Whew, it don't get any better than that. The fat-free shad, BD8, silent model. Talk to him into biting. See you, buddy. Let's get back in there again. You've got to get in there as quick as possible, because once you get them fired up, like I'm fired up, you have got to get in there. Now they're all excited, they're jacked up.